They usurped us and made us their slaves. Okay. Oh, and a lot of these, amendments like the 14th Amendment, a lot of people are claiming those haven't even been ratified. And most of the laws that are out there, I believe there's 80 million laws around the books. Okay, they don't pertain to American nationals. And when you change your status to an American national through the Arizona Assembly or the other state assemblies, you don't have to follow those laws.
Hi, I'm Paul speaking for Free Range with Gail of Gaia. Today, Gail talks with Dennis Knill, the coordinator for the State of Arizona Assembly. What is that? Well, listen up. Stay tuned. You are going to love this, and you might want to take notes.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are. This is Gail of Gaia, and this is Free Range, where we graze on wild ideas. And today I have with me Dennis. How do you pronounce your last name, Dennis?
Knill.
Knill? Okay.
Like in void, yeah.
Okay, Knill and void. Okay, that's funny. So anyway, Dennis is a state coordinator for the State of Arizona Assembly. And we're going to talk about the Assembly and hopefully educate people that would like to know more about it, and including myself, because I've always been interested in stepping outside of the corporate construct that we have been stuck in for a very long time that tends to abuse people in many different ways. And so we're going to talk about that a little bit. And so, Dennis, tell us a little bit about the Arizona State Assembly and where it's at and how many members and what's its main issues right now.
Well, everybody knows what the main issues are because we're living them every day. But I'll go into what the Assembly is. The Assembly is and are the people, the lawful people of this country. We'll just stay with Arizona because I work Arizona. Anyway, we are the lawful people. The reason I'm saying lawful is because when everybody was born, they were issued a birth certificate. Okay, that birth certificate is on bond paper. It's a bond against you. So when they give you that birth certificate without your parents even knowing, they say, here, sign these forms. All right, they just created you as a corporation, a dead entity.
Yes.
Okay, so all
You're
of the
a corpse in court, right?
Yeah, exactly. Why do you think they call it probate? Because you're already dead, and you were dead while you were even living, even though you didn't feel like it. Well, maybe sometimes, but anyway, as you're going through life, the corporations take advantage of you, and that's what they do, and they can because you're considered a corporation. So they have all the power over you. So what we do is we have the paperwork that gets you back on the land and soil lawfully. We are the only lawful government in this country is the assemblies. And the assemblies, see, with the government, it's from them down, and they dictate what happens and what we do and what we could, what we can do and what we can have. The assemblies are the lawful people. We are the ones that dictate to the government. The government works for us.
Yes, whatever happened to that, huh?
Yeah, gone, right? Yeah, they just take advantage. They get in there and they just start throwing their weight around or what weight they think they have. But they work for us. Okay, that's what it's all about. We, the people, have the voice. That's why it's on Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. We, the people. Okay, we have the voice. We make the rules. We make the law. And all of a sudden they turn it around and, throw us in jail because we looked at them cross-eyed.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, people don't get treated fairly in court at all.
No, nor on the street. I mean, the police, it's all of a sudden the police state and, you look at them cross-eyed, and what are you looking at? You're going to jail, And
then you're resisting arrest. Yeah, it's just ridiculous.
They come up with ridiculous, fictitious stuff all the time. And if there is no victim, there is no crime. That's the way it is in the law of the land. If there is no victim, there is no crime.
And there's been a
It's like,
complete loss of due process in the process as well, as far as I can see.
yeah, you're right.
And for example, here in Arizona, not to throw a wrench in anything at this point, but there are people that are held in jail that aren't even convicted for
Well,
years.
well, they're held in jail and they haven't even been charged. We
Yeah,
have
that
several
too.
people that we've heard about that are in jail and they haven't even been charged for a crime yet.
But
It's
they'll think of
unbelievable.
something. They'll think of something. That's
Oh
what it
yeah.
boils down to.
Oh
When
yeah.
yeah, it's horrific as far as I'm concerned, and it's a way for them to use that corporation, from what I understand, by accessing those bond papers through the birth
Right.
certificate
Right.
and paying for their paying themselves, basically. I'm sure
Yeah.
it's a RICO operation at the very least. But how can the assembly help the average
Well,
lawful person? I hate to even use the word person.
well, no, that's right, because persons are United States citizens. Okay,
Yes.
U.S. citizens, which you are until you get your paperwork corrected, are or you are a U.S. citizen, and U.S. citizens have no rights. The constitutions are contracts between the lawful people of the land and the corporations. It keeps them in check. That's why you get all these corrupt politicians saying, the Constitution is just another useless piece of paper. Yeah, they want to see it disappear because it keeps them in check. It keeps them in their boundaries. And
Right.
Go ahead.
It's my understanding, though, that the Constitution that they're referring to is the corporate Constitution, which doesn't do any good for the people that want to be a living being on the land. They kind of make it look like like there's something to it, but in 1871 it was co-opted, as far as I understand.
It was. That's when all the corporations, took over and decided to do their own thing right after the Civil War. They usurped us and made us their slaves. Okay. Oh, and a lot of these, amendments like the 14th Amendment, a lot of people are claiming those haven't even been ratified. And most of the laws that are out there, I believe there's 80 million laws are on the books. Okay, they don't pertain to American nationals. And when you change your status to an American national through the Arizona Assembly or the other state assemblies, you don't have to follow those laws because they are written for corporations. Mm-hmm. And when you pull yourself out of being a dead entity corporation, you are a living being on the land, whether you're a man or a woman.
Now, you can stand there in court and say that in front of a judge, and they practically will laugh at you. There might be a few of them that would actually pay attention, but most of them will just use that against you and throw you in jail for even a longer period of time, which is why it's so important, I think, for the people to unite, like you're doing with this assembly, and back people up who know that information and know their rights standing on the land.
Right. And we also have constitutional lawyers that are working with us also, and they are swamped and they are growing by leaps and bounds. They started out with like 10, 15 constitutional lawyers in offices, and now there's over, a couple hundred from what I understand.
Mm-hmm. May I ask something about those? Are they no longer bar members, or are they, because they're foreign agents, from what I understand, would have to take an oath to the Constitution to remedy that situation? I don't know how that works, but is that an issue at all?
It is an issue for them. Bar attorneys, do you know what BAR stands for?
Yeah, British Accreditation Registry.
Exactly. So anyone who wants to be a constitutional lawyer instead of an attorney, yes, you have to tear up your bar card. It's like a country club, of people, and they work for the Queen. And
the bar mafia, I call.
Yeah, exactly. And they
so these constitutional lawyers have actually done that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow. I'm impressed.
Yeah, they all have. And we're getting more and more every day to help out the people of the land. going in there and telling these judges, and the prosecutors and so on, that they
Ooh, that's
have the
giving me
wrong people.
goosebumps. That's really encouraging.
Yeah. And a lot of people are switching to become American nationals because we have all of the rights and freedoms of the Declaration of Independence. United States citizens do not, because they're considered a corporation. So the assemblies are growing like crazy, and we need to hurry because the de facto government, the corrupt politicians and corporations, are putting in or ramming through the New World Order.
Ramming through is a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
And depopulating us at the same time.
And that's on purpose. Yeah. To get rid of us, the primary creditors. So each one of us that is an American national that has changed their status is worth. Well, let me ask you this: how much do you think your net worth is?
Well, from basically what I've heard, I don't actually know the exact figure, but I've heard a couple million at least.
It's actually in the billions, because they have fleeced our parents, our grandparents, our cousins, uncles, whoever that have our namesake and so on. And a lot of those have since passed, and all of that credit belongs to us that they have stolen.
But I've known people who have gone to great lengths to be able to access that, but haven't really been able. I mean, I guess a few have, but they usually keep quiet and don't share that with other people. But is the American National going to be in a position to be able to help people with that?
Yes, they are. We're getting our bank set up, our credit unions, because all of these buildings and everything in the United States are owned by the lawful people. We all paid for them. They belong to us. All the corporations belong to us because all of their charters were put in illegally. So the lawful people of the land own those charters. And with these corrupt corporations like Monsanto and a few others, they just go out to hurt people, the soil, the land, environment, the earth, everything, and including us with these, this mask crap.
Oh my God, I've done a lot of research on that, and people should only know what they're doing when they put those on their face.
Well, it's because everybody's sitting in front of the boob tube and they're listening to the CNN and the ABC, NBC, CBS, blah, 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 blah. And they're all corporations doing the same thing, jamming through or ramming through the one world order. So we all have to unite, correct our political status. When we have plenty of members, okay, then we are recognized. And when these judges and prosecutors and so on like that keep seeing us coming in there and being represented by lawful constitutional lawyers, they're going to quit, because most of those,
they should. They take bribes. They when they give their sentences, they get kickbacks that go into not IRS. What do you call them? The retirement funds and so on.
Yep, IRAs and so on. Yeah.
Yeah. And I've I know some of this, and it's just like it seems like impossible. As a matter of fact, I went through redoing a passport and saying on the passport that I wasn't a U.S. citizen and neither were my parents.
Right.
How much good it did, I don't really know. But this is another added feature that I'm just absolutely delighted to know about, because you can't go forward on this by yourself. That's why the people need to unite and back each other up.
Correct. And you can do, you can do the paperwork correctly then at that point and have the help and know that it's done correctly. And then you have people in the assemblies that will help you, if you are pulled over by the cops or they give you some fictitious account or whatever.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah.
That's important right there, because I have had that happen, and standing up for the right to travel. And you have to it just depends who stops you, really.
Exactly.
And if you get a jerk, there's no matter what you say, they'll take you to jail if you're not in compliance with corporate law. And
Exactly. Yeah. Because, they're, and all of the cops that are out there, they're not all bad. Some of them are a bunch of idiots and boneheads. And, those deserve to be defunded. But the other ones that are out there keeping the peace and helping individuals when, in their times of trouble or whatever happens, an accident or, heart attack, anything like that.
yeah, wouldn't it be nice if that's what they really did? I mean,
Right.
instead of just being revenue generators, which many of them are, and sometimes they're just plain old bullies too.
Yes,
But,
exactly. And they treat people poorly and, they
yeah.
rough them up and, somebody may have a medical situation or something and they're, twitching on the ground or whatever. They're going and, razzing them, grabbing them, throwing them around because they don't realize that they have a medical condition going on. And they just start laughing and, beating on people. This is, resistance.
Yeah, like it's an excuse to beat on people.
Yeah,
I know there's got to be good cops out there too, but I've run into some very bad ones myself. And it's unfortunate, but the way I understand it is that it's hard for the good ones to stand against the bad ones because then they come back at the good ones. Whether that's true or not, I don't know.
Right.
There's something called a blue code or whatever. But that kind of thing, it would be better if it was the old-fashioned kind of Andy Griffith type.
Right. Well, the way it used to be 20, 30, 40 years ago, you know, if you needed help with something, you called them and they came and, they were more than happy to help and you felt good about it. And because you had a helping hand. Now you don't even want to call the cops because, somebody's going to get beat up. Somebody's going to be mishandled.
Taken to jail somewhat. Who knows?
Right.
Maybe even shot for that matter.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, we have to correct that, and that's the process that the American states assemblies are in the process of doing. So yeah, we need to build it, and we need to build it fast before the one world order gets crammed through, and they're pushing hard and heavy on it. That's for sure.
Oh my goodness, yes they are, and it's kind of scary because they're very heavy into the depopulation agenda as well.
Right.
And people aren't seeing it because they don't disclose the truth, and this blind faith in the corporate construct of whatever they tell you, or blind faith in authority, whether it's a white coat or a blue jacket, meaning cops or doctors. You really need to use discernment because they're not disclosing the truth about what's going on.
Yeah, we've been living in this lie for over 150 years. They've been lying to us about everything, from our birth certificates to, everything. So you have to take it with a grain of salt. What is what? Do some homework, do your research, figure out exactly what is going on. That's like Anna von Reitz. She gives us the information, and
Yeah, I've been following her for a long time.
Right. And she tells the truth, and, it needs to get out there by everybody, and people need to study. It's like, we're all along for a free ride here, and that's why we're in the mess we're in, because nobody checked anything. Everybody took
trust. They trust.
Yeah.
It's human nature, I think, and it's where our own human nature has been used against us.
Yes. Yeah. By the crook and the evil people.
Yes.
And so the trust is gone. So we're questioning everything now, and that's what we need to continue to do, and to get the assemblies going and tell the people the truth and get them on board. And there's so many more benefits of being an American national than just changing your status. Like you don't have to obey any of their rules or statutes or laws. You don't have to pay taxes as long as you're not a federal employee. You don't even have to have license plates, registration, or driver's license for your car to travel on the highway.
That's a construct right there that was used against us through the DMV.
Oh, yeah.
it just hooked you up right to the courts, right through the cops to the courts, and circled around, and you get fined and you get go to court, and the chances of your winning are slim to none. You
Right.
come out, it was funny in court one time. I was in there. I said, somebody said something about it's all about the money, and
It is.
the judge said, no, it's not. And then and then I said, well, then why is everybody going to the clerks to make a payment when they leave?
Yeah. Yep. Have him tell you a different story, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, how many people do we have in the Arizona Assembly?
We're growing at such a good steady rate. There are 15 counties, and almost all of them are represented by at least a couple people in all of the counties, and we have several hundred and growing.
Oh, that's awesome. That's good.
Yeah, and the other states are doing the same thing, and we're moving. We're moving right along.
Where do constitutional sheriffs come in? Are they part of this, or are they part of the old construct?
Well, the sheriffs and so on, they all used to be constitutional sheriffs until the government says, if you do this and do this and write tickets for all these 80 million or 80,000 or whatever it is statutes, we'll give you some funding so you can keep going, but you have to incorporate. So they says, well, okay. So they did. So now they work for the corporations instead of for the people. But the sheriffs and the deputies still take an oath of office to defend the Constitution and uphold it against, enemies, foreign and domestic. But when it's involving another corporation, they say, look the other way. So with sheriffs like that in those counties, the lawful people, the assemblies, can vote in their own county sheriff. And we override all the other corporations because they are corporations. They're dead entities.
Yes.
So
that's been the demise of our country.
Right. So we have to populate our courts and get everything going and have positions going, just like they're doing now, just that, everybody's used to what's out there. We have to basically rebuild the whole thing and start over. So that's what we're doing.
That's the only way to go, because I don't think there's any room for repairs.
No. I mean, we could try, some of the sheriffs say they're constitutional sheriffs and so on like that. And some of them are, and the one here, in Yavapai says, we're right here with you. And I says, well, we've got your back if you've got ours. And so we'll see what happens, when the,
that's encouraging.
Hits the fan.
Well, what about, okay, here's an issue that comes up frequently that I've run into, and I even was concerned about it myself. Once you become an American national and you stand on the land, does that mean that all that you contributed to the Social Security system is no longer available to you? Even though they stole it from you anyway, but
right. Yeah, no, all of that is yours. Disability insurance, Social Security, everything is still yours. It still belongs to you, because when it all started out with the Social Security number, it wasn't supposed to be for identification. It was supposed to be for a retirement program. But the de facto uses it for identification, and even those are hijacked and so on like that. But you collect all your Social Security, you get all the different benefits and whatever that you have put into. Absolutely, that doesn't change.
Well, that's important, because some people get concerned about that. And so now the state assemblies will be coming up with their own banking system too. Is that true?
Yeah, that's in the process now. We're just about ready to open our credit unions and our banks, and we're going to need personnel for that. And a lot of these are going to be paid positions, so we're going to be hiring, but you have to correct your status first. Dead entity corporation can't be on the land and soil. It just you can't cross jurisdictions. Because right now U.S. citizens are in the C jurisdiction.
Okay. Well, there was a time when they said correct your status. They were talking about changing your name.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, no, you keep your same name. Uh, yeah, it's yours. You were born with it. Your parents gave it to you, and
and they
um,
co-opted it.
oh yeah, and made you a corporation. Yep.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, and try telling the judge you're not that all cap name.
Right.
I did that, and they said, "Oh, okay. Well, either you are or you're going to jail."
Yeah. Well,
Oh,
just keep,
okay. I
just
think I'll for now I'll be that, but I will be back. And
right.
I was really delighted to find out that this was going on in Arizona because I've been abused in Arizona. I can tell you that right now. But
Yeah.
anyway, um, that's very encouraging. So. Are they going to, is the state assembly going to take over some of the court buildings? How's all that going to work?
Well, what happens is there's still going to be people, or I should say persons, that don't want to, they don't hear about us or don't want to change their status. I mean, it takes all of like 10 minutes to do that. But, some people just aren't, interested in whatever. And there still will be, the corrupt court, and they can deal with them. But we have our own courts up, and we take care of our own people. And the judges make no, in our system, the judges don't rule over everything. They just keep the order in the court. The jurors are the actual ones that do the case and decide right there in the courtroom. Okay, if the case is worth hearing, if there actually is a victim, and then there actually is a crime, and they let them know right away. If there's a fine, there's a fine. But yeah,
Well, isn't there some kind of that where a real true due process needs to be followed?
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's always a due process. Yeah, all the people need to be notified, just like going to court now, but you're doing it with actual people, lawful people, your peers, and they're going to let you know exactly what happened.
Well, it's my understanding that in the corrupt court system, which we know the person frequently loses in some capacity.
They always lose. Yeah.
Always lose. Yeah. My what I'm wondering is, I was told they even stack the jury. However they do that, I'm not sure, but it's through a computerized program, and they reuse the same people. And somehow, I don't know if they're getting kickbacks or how that's all working, but it's disgusting. But what about somebody who's already caught up in the system? Is there anything that you can, like these people we were talking about before, who have been sitting in jail for years, some of them not even charged, some of them claim to be charged, but they have no real evidence. And it seems as though these prosecutors will keep them there as long as they possibly can, and even fabricate evidence if they...
Absolutely. Yeah, they do. Is there anything we could do? Yeah. It's best that you become an American national before anything happens.
Yeah.
But if you do, you may get a hold of a good constitutional lawyer, and they'll be able to get you out of it. Because, it all starts with the birth certificate, and the judges know that that's where the fraud started.
Yes.
All right. And once you change your status and the paperwork is proven, then you're out of their system. They can't even talk to you. They can't write you a ticket, even though they do. Okay. You can still fight that because we don't have to pay attention to the corporate laws.
Free Range with Gail of Gaia and Free Range Productions is proud to partner with C60evo.com, makers of ESS60 products. C60, the carbon-60 molecule, delivers more than 172 times the power of vitamin C as an antioxidant. ESS60 is simply the purest form of C60, a known antiviral, antibacterial, and anti-inflammatory remedy that not only works, it is the only C60 molecule that is approved for both internal and external use. ESS60 neutralizes free radicals from cell metabolization and external toxins to help minimize inflammation and maximize detoxification. People report better sleep, more energy and flexibility, and renewed mental clarity when they take ESS60 products. For more information, visit ess60.gailofgaia.com. That is ess60.gailofgaia.com. in keeping with the long-standing tradition of bringing you the very best in information, entertainment, and health-related products. Free Range with Gail of Gaia is pleased to bring you the gold standard in CBD products and resources. Free Range is partnered with CBD Sedona, a full-service CBD resource for the best products and information available. Just visit cbd.gailofgaia.com. That's cbd.gailofgaia.com to learn how to support your health, wellness, complexion, and also support Free Range. CBD is no joke. It's a powerful addition to your wellness routine when accompanied by a consultation with a real CBD professional. Sure, you can find CBD at a smoke shop, hardware, or a grocery store, but can you get the valuable information on CBD use or the quality you can get from people where CBD is all they do? Probably not. Visit cbd.gailofgaia.com. That's cbd.gailofgaia.com today to learn more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I actually thought that the corporate system was bankrupted and defunct during when, now I know Trump was the president of the corporate system, and that's what Biden is at this time. And, you know, that's a construct we don't even want anything to do with in reality. But most people don't, a lot of people don't understand all this, right?
Right.
And so would, under the constitutional republic, would there still be a leader or president, or would that be...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Would.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what most people don't realize is, excuse me, on November 3rd was the election,
Mm-hmm.
all right, for president of the United States, Incorporated.
Yeah.
All right. So whether Biden won or Trump won, it didn't matter, because on November 5th, the United States Inc. was liquidated.
That's what I thought. And isn't that why they got Trump in there in the first place? That's what I thought. Anyway.
Yeah. So, you know, they were president for 2 days of the United States Inc. Incorporated, and now it's just a facade. There is no United States president because the position and the corporation no longer exists. So when somebody goes bankrupt, can you collect on it? No. So what are they doing? They're lying to us some more.
Lies, lies, and more damn lies. That's what it boils down to.
Yeah.
That's what Dr.
Absolutely
Robert O.
right.
Young says, and it's so true.
Yeah.
And the same thing's happening to us in the medical arena as far as lies go. And this whole, I always like to put out a warning that people really need to think twice about getting this shot, because it's lethal.
It is.
Maybe not right away, but they're saying now you might have 2 or 3 years. And
Well, and a lot will only have 4 to 6 months. And
Exactly.
then it starts eating you out from the inside and everything else. And it's not good. And then, of course, when they give you the test in the first place, they're putting that bacteria stuff into the back of your throat and into your brain. You have to get you rolling. And then to kill you off. And they're doing that, okay, because they want to collect on the bonds and the insurance. So they're trying to get rid of as many of us as they possibly can, so they don't have to pay back that debt.
You know what? Now that you say that, I kind of forgot about that aspect of it, because everybody has that, and so when the people die, then they're able to collect on that. Is there any way that the assemblies will be able to stop that process?
Yeah, become an American national.
You'd have to be American national first, because then they can keep them from being able to collect on you.
Right. Because
I just did.
Yeah.
I just did a show with Jim Fetzer, and there's this one website called, I think it's legal.com or something like that. But anyway, they're projecting that we could go from a population of 330 million to a population as low as 99.
Right. That's what they're working on.
That's in 5 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
well,
people,
it'll be less than that. Yeah. It'll be less than that.
Yeah, it'll be less than that. It's really important that people wake up. These things are not safe and effective. They never have been. In fact, some of the older ones just set you up for the new one. And
they've been planning this for some time and been rolling it out. And
yes,
it's here. And,
It's
we're
hard to
here.
believe, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's mind-boggling. But that's why I think it's so important. And one of the reasons why I wanted to be able to do an interview with you, if there's any way that we can help to educate people to get on board, to change their status, become an American national, become involved with the American assemblies, and get back on the land. But there's always fear involved, but I'm not sure what the fear would be for this, really.
Well, and there really shouldn't be any. I think what it is it's the fear of change.
Yeah.
But people can go to the AmericanStatesAssembly.net or AnnaVonReitz.com, and you can be reading there the rest of your life, because there's so much information and truth, it'll make your head spin. But that's the way to get started.
Yes.
And contact your state coordinator or county coordinator, to get things going for yourself.
Okay.
And,
Well, I'm almost there. I paid my fee, and I was so happy that you can have somebody behind you, because I've been in a situation where when you're by yourself and nobody there to back you up, and the corporate people, players, bad actors come in and put you in jail, and you can get stuck there for a while.
Oh yeah.
Unless you have a lot of money, and
Right.
Public defenders are a joke. I'm sorry to say.
Yeah. And we just mentioned fee. So people are, watching this may be going, well, how much is it? How many thousands of dollars, And to get your paperwork up and running and recorded, it could be as little as $25. And then you can, once that's recorded, we have our own credential cards. All right. And you can get those for $35. It's like a driver's license, but it has your thumbprint on there, your photograph, and it says "Do not detain, do not interrogate" on it. All right. So.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, after you do the initial part and pay the $25,
Right.
then you have to present the witnesses. Is that correct, or what? How's that work?
That's part of it. You can do the one pager, and it's one page, and you need two witnesses, people that have known you for 7 years. On our
How did they
witness
pick out
form.
that? Why did they pick out that number, 7 years? May I ask?
Well,
Just out of
they
curiosity.
figured that people who have been in any one place for 7 years, they're known. They're well known.
Oh,
by
okay. Well, see,
whoever.
that's a problem for those of us who have moved around a lot, which I have done.
But they still have family and friends and relatives and stuff.
And how does that work, though, from the Notary Republic, though? Because the notary has to sign, don't they? How's that work?
Okay.
Can you
Well, the
explain that?
witnesses, you send the witness, you call them up if they're out of, for example, we'll use someone's out of state. You went to, school in Florida, or grew up in Florida, and now you're in Arizona. So you've got your family and everybody in Florida. You call them up and you say, hey, I want to will you be a witness for me, saying that you've known me for at least 7 years? I'm going to go, well, sure. What do I got to do? Well, you fax them over or email them a copy of the witness testimony form with your picture on it. They get
like
it.
This, right?
That's the one. Yep. And they take it to the bank and show the bank, the notary at the bank or the UPS store or anything like that. And they'll notarize it for them, and then they mail it back to you, and there's one of your witnesses or of them or whatever. And then you fill out those forms, and you get with the state recorder, your county recorder, through the assembly, and we publish that for you. And that's what the $25 fee is for. All right. And then once that's published, we call or email you and say, okay, you can go back and order your credential cards from that website. And that's $35, and it comes to you within 2 weeks. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I just emailed mine to my brother and sister-in-law in Wisconsin.
Right.
And
there you go.
So all they have to do is sign and then notarize it, and then send it back to me.
Yep.
Okay.
And then when you get it, you call me, and I'll come over and stamp it and notarize it and publish it for you.
Okay. I was looking for somebody more local, but people do move around a lot. And so
they do. Especially when you want them for a witness.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's another couple down in Santan Valley that I was going to contact, but so far I haven't heard back. But anyway, because that would work, and that'd be a lot closer. But anyway, so that's how people would do it if if they wanted to know. And so I'm going through that process myself. And I would encourage others to do it as well, because I'm not totally new to this whole thing. It's just that this is the first time I was, trying to battle this alone, and you just can't do that with one or myself or one other person or something like that. You really need more backup than that, like you have managed to get, which makes me more proud of Arizona to be back here again.
Right.
They're doing the right thing, even with the audit, which I know that's part of the corporate construct. But at the same time, people are standing up and say, "Hey, something went on here. This is crooked." And
well, we all know that. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's for sure. And then there's another group in Arizona here that took the school board to task, fired them all.
Great. Yeah, and that's what we need to do.
Right on, yeah.
Yep.
And same with these schools that are making children wear masks. I mean, it's criminal. Or these employers that are telling people that they have to get the shot. Yeah. How do they have that right?
They don't. Exactly. And that's written in the Constitution. And it even says in there, when you read it, not even the President of the United States of America, mayor, governor, whoever, has any authority to make you do something that is against your will. They cannot force you to wear a mask, even in an emergency. Okay, it's totally against the law. But we're going to call it a mandate, and all the cops start writing tickets on it when it isn't even a law. It's because you got a lot of people out there that are brain dead or just are uninformed,
programmed or something.
That's it. That programmed. Or
I think the TV programs people. I really do. That's why they call it programming. It actually is a form of brainwashing, of mind control. That if you spend too much time in front of it, that's what's going to happen to you.
Yeah, and it keeps getting worse.
And their obedience is prolonging the nightmare.
Right. And it's going to continue, and that's why I keep saying, if we don't, get the assemblies up and running fast with the same brainwashing that they're doing, it's going to be one world order, and we won't be able to stop it.
And we won't. And communism, you might as well just say communism, because that's what it boils down to. Marxists and communists are the ones that are really pushing this agenda really hard.
Oh yeah.
And
who'd ever thought it would come to the United States of America?
Exactly. It's kind of funny because the people are so brainwashed that they actually think that we're free. And I'm going, wait a minute, can you fish? Can you hunt? Can you buy a gun?
Can you walk down the street?
You can charge for everything. If that's not a corporate construct, I don't know what is.
Right. Can you speak your mind? Not anymore.
Oh my gosh.
All of our rights are going right down the toilet because we're letting them do it. Because they're doing it out of fear on everybody.
And yes, like the censorship is out of control.
Oh yeah.
I have a YouTube channel, okay? And it's gotten to the point where I've only been able to put up like a short clip from a video, because if you say certain words, you bring up certain topics, you can't put up the video.
Right.
And I think we're pretty clean for the most part here to be able to put this up.
We'll see.
I have one strike already, so I don't know if I'll get another one or not. But there are platforms that you can use that don't censor, like YouTube and BitChute and Rumble.
Right.
I like YouTube. Mostly because it's an American company. I like that part.
Right.
Rumble is Canadian, which amazes me that they're not censoring more than
right. Yeah.
And BitChute is the UK, and Brand New Tube is the UK too. There's a new one called Odyssey. But anyway, what happens is this is their great divide and conquer.
Right.
technique too, because all my subscribers were on YouTube, and now I can't really put the whole video on YouTube anymore. So it's doubled the workload,
Oh,
to be
yeah.
able to do. But the censorship, I mean, talk about freedom of speech. That's the First Amendment, our First Amendment right. And without it, how can you do anything?
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's being terribly infringed upon right now. And I hope people will stand up and help stop it.
And we have to.
We
Yeah.
have to do it together. We can't do it alone. And it's my
Right.
understanding that it's a very small number of people that are actually managing to control us all.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. It is.
But we really got to wake people up to that
Yeah.
there is something that they can do. And becoming an American national is one of those things that will help bring the real, original, organic Constitution back in play. And
Right. Yep. Become a state national or state citizen today. Yeah. The American States Assemblies and get things going. Contact everybody you know, because we're not the only two here in Arizona that, have heard about this and, are wanting to change things. We have, several hundred already, and it's just exploding now. So you might want to get started now, because you may have a wait in line for
when people
recorders
finally
to get
wake
your
up, huh?
paperwork recorded, as all the people start coming in, because they want to have their freedoms back.
Exactly.
And they're dwindling right now every day.
Every day. Now, if someone went to the,
The American States Assembly.net.
.net, yes. Now, if they go there, does it matter what state they're from?
No, because that's clear across the country, and you can click on the state that it shows, and it'll tell you, it'll give you the email address and name of the state coordinator in that state, whether it's Georgia, California, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Texas, doesn't matter. It'll tell you who that is. Or you can send an email to them and say, hey, I'm interested. I want to know more. Go there, start studying that. It may take a day or two before the coordinator gets back to you, but at least you can get a head start, studying the different things and, start checking out things. And that way it'll give you, some time to ask questions that, may come up. That way you can ask them and they'll answer those for you.
Okay, I've got a question that came to mind. Somebody might wonder this. What if somebody is on food stamps?
Okay, food stamps is a benefit given by the government.
Mm-hmm.
So
by the corporate government?
Yeah. By the corporate government. And you should not be on food stamps. But if you have to be on food stamps, get your paperwork ready. Okay, so the minute you're off of the food stamps, then, declare your, state national or state citizenship.
Yeah, I was just wondering about that, because there might be some people, things are always more difficult for low-income people.
Right.
No matter what it is or what you're doing, there's always that question that comes up. And it's unfortunate, but because the corporate construct helped to get people in that position in the first place.
Well, they don't help to get them there. They definitely put them there.
They put them there.
And they keep us all broke and dumb and working and uneducated, and they don't tell us when they're doing things. And when they do, they just lie out of what constantly to keep us working. So we can't communicate. That's, what the heck's going on there with masks and the 6 social distancing and all that other stuff. It's all a form of control. That's all it is.
Exactly.
And they're trying to divide us and keep us that way, so that we're all dependent on them. And then that's why they have the VAC going on.
And you can't assemble and talk about things and discuss things.
Right.
And you're afraid of your neighbor and so on and so forth.
Communism, we're at it right now.
Yep. So I would encourage everyone to look at this and hopefully make a decision to become an American national, step away from the corporate construct, and become a man or woman living on the land, and where we follow the original organic constitution.
Correct. Absolutely.
And the more people that become a part of this, the faster we can make a transition to a better way of life.
Yes. And we can have all of our freedoms back because they're dwindling very quickly.
Very quickly. It's very disturbing.
Yep.
Well, is there,
if we don't do anything, we're going to lose it all.
and that's what's been the problem all along, is people are afraid to stand up for their rights. They really are.
They are. Well, it's the fear factor that the corporations put into each and every one of us, because we'll get you somehow, whether it's jail or fines or whatever. And most people are, working paycheck to paycheck, just trying to survive. And that's why they keep us that way. So we can't fight back, so we can't talk back, so we can't tell them our rights. And then they get belligerent in our face and just make stuff up as they go. And that's why we have to unite and get back at this and show them that we have the force and the ability, and we are the lawful people of this land. They are corporations, dead entities. They have to listen to us because we own them.
They don't own us, which
Correct.
Exactly.
Exactly.
That's one of the things that is a concern too, considering the fact that this the contents of this shot is actually a synthetic construct of that's currently being argued with between NIH and Moderna. But what I'm wondering about is, when you get this, is it kind of like getting a barcode put on you?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to stay with you till you die, which will be a lot quicker than later.
Yeah, and there's no detoxing from it either.
No. When it's there, it's there. It's there to cause damage to you.
It's permanent. Yeah. As a matter of fact, Dr. Sherry Tenpenny went. Yeah, the 8 ways that it will lead to your demise.
Oh yeah.
I discussed that recently in a video I did with Jim Fetzer, and I would encourage people to watch that too, because we have to educate them all around, from the stepping out of the corporate construct, standing up for your rights, and knowing that you're not being disclosed the truth about your health and about the consequences of some of the things that they are advising and telling you have to do, when in fact it violates the Nuremberg Code, and it violates the Constitution, the original Constitution as well.
And your freedoms from God.
And your freedom, yes. Yeah, they're trying to destroy the family. They're trying to destroy our connection to God. And it just is such a dark and evil agenda.
It is, definitely. Yeah, it's definitely a war between good and evil.
Yes. Definitely.
And we need to get in this fight. If not, we will
get up off the couch. Come on, get up.
That's right.
Get out there. We need you. We need everybody on board. All hands on deck.
That's right. It's go time.
It's go time, because there isn't a whole lot of time left.
No, there isn't.
So I really, is there anything else that you'd like to add that we haven't talked about that would be beneficial to people about this?
Well, things are changing quickly, and the assemblies are growing quickly, but we need everybody. And get to the AmericanStatesAssembly.net and AnnaVonReitz.com and get your status corrected and join the people, the lawful people of the land, and get the assemblies built. You will be so glad you did, because all of our freedoms are waiting for us there.
Right on, Dennis. Thank you so much for your time and energy and what you're doing with the state assembly here in Arizona. And again, people, just remember that doesn't just that website doesn't just apply to people in Arizona. You can be from any state and go there and get this started. So
absolutely.
Take a look at it. Get involved. We need you. We need everyone. And thank you for listening. And thank you very much, Dennis, for your time and for what you're doing. And I'm with you. And if you ever want to do this again to keep this going in any
You got
capacity,
it.
just let me know. And because we
Absolutely.
got to keep encouraging people and keep putting it out there so that people are aware of it, because they do everything they can to keep us unknowledgeable.
Right. And they're running their propaganda 24/7 on the boob tube. So, we
Oh
have
my
to
God, yes.
combat them somehow. So, yeah, we
Okay.
have to do these things. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. We'll keep them going.
All right. Thank you so much. And we'll talk again sometime.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Take care. Thank you. Thank you
Have a
for
good-
listening, everyone. I hope you got some new stuff that you can work with now. Thank you.
That's right. And if you have questions, ask.
Exactly.
Right.
And I'll include this information in the description of the video and anything that you think I should put there as well. So thank you.
Thanks. Talk to you
Bye-bye.
soon.
Bye.
Bye.
This Free Range Productions program is presented for information purposes only. The opinions expressed may not necessarily reflect the opinions of the hosts, Free Range Productions, its principal supporters, or staff. Viewers are directed to use their own research and discernment with respect to any information presented here.